Welcome to Wausau Tile's instructional video for Kohls new entryway installations. The following video will instruct you on all the necessary steps to complete the assembly of the new entryways, from delivery and unloading to positioning and assembly. This is a finished product and great care should be taken to protect the product during installation. Specifically designed toolkits for this installation are available for purchase from Wausau Tile. We'll start with the delivery of the entryway parts. Delivery methods may vary at each location. However, you'll notice the foam wrap packaging is in place to protect the pieces from damage while in transit to their destination and while unloading on site. Do not cut into the product while removing the packaging. The horizontal eyebrow piece is by far the largest part and requires a crane or another vehicle of equal or greater lifting capabilities for unloading and assembly. The product is delivered with lifting eye bolts, and these should be used as the lifting points. When removing the foam wrap packaging, you'll notice that each vertical fin has been pre-marked according to their final location on their respective posts. Accurate measurements are necessary to ensure the front vertical fins are fitted properly. Prior to installation, existing columns and base plates should be primed. These next few steps will determine whether or not your horizontal eyebrow piece will be mounted level and successfully. Utilize the metal template provided and locate the appropriate post. Next, mount your magnetic drill and determine the center point for each hole to be drilled. Finally, drill the necessary mounting holes where the vertical fin and horizontal arm will be fitted. Note, make sure the column wraps are installed plumb, whether measuring from the top down or bottom up. Measuring both the right and left side at each entrance to ensure the installation is plumb. The EIFS or column bases may not be plumb and straight. For example, measuring down 30 inches below the ceiling at one corner and doing the same on the other corner where the EIFS might be 1 inch off will cause the eyebrow to be installed 1 inch off. You'll need to check several reference points so the eyebrow and enclosure are installed plumb and square. Now that the mounting holes have been drilled, remeasure your mounting post and proceed to cut the front vertical fins to their appropriate lengths. This step should not be required, but if necessary, by using tape on the surface of the fin, you will reduce flaking and minimize damage to the finished, clean surface. Positioning the front vertical fin on the mounting post will require the help of at least 2 people, if not 3. Once the fin is in place, you may position the existing holes on the fin with the drilled holes on the mounting post. The use of a steel pin to align the front vertical fin's holes with the post holes was found to be helpful, if not necessary. Accurate positioning of the holes will directly affect the degree of difficulty used while installing the horizontal arms. Once you have clamped the top and bottom of the front vertical fins, you can then proceed to the next step, mounting the horizontal arm pieces. Careful measurement and marking of the horizontal arm pieces will determine to which vertical fin they will be fitted. Once you have loaded the horizontal arm onto your lift, you can then proceed to fit the horizontal arm into the slots on the vertical fin. As you can see, the use of a steel pin is convenient and will save you time while positioning the horizontal arms into the vertical fins. 4 of these drift bolts will be used to mount each horizontal arm on each vertical front fin. Do not substitute any bolts or hardware for any items provided by Wausau Tile. Inserting the drift bolts into each of the mounting holes will require the use of a hammer. As you'll notice, the steel pin is still being used to keep the arm in position. Once the drift bolts are in place, you may temporarily tighten each of them with an impact driver or wrench. However, you will be required to utilize a torque wrench to tighten each drift bolt to factory specified foot-pounds. You will need to follow the same steps to mount the second horizontal arm, inserting the drift bolts and tightening them to the factory specified foot-pounds with a torque wrench. The installed drift bolts on each horizontal arm should be flush with the surface of the arm and not be obstructed by any welded seams in the corners of the arm plates. It is now time to mount the horizontal eyebrow piece. Be sure to stabilize the eyebrow while transporting it into position. Positioning and mounting the horizontal eyebrow piece will require the assistance of at least 3 people. By posting a person at each end of the eyebrow, you ensure not only the proper alignment, but you also minimize any damage that may incur while lifting the eyebrow into place. Once the eyebrow is positioned properly at one end, use the threaded bolts to secure it to the horizontal arm. Only then should you proceed to thread the bolts into place at the opposite end. As with the drift bolts, you may temporarily tighten the bolts using an impact driver or wrench, but note that you will be required to tighten the bolts to a factory specified foot-pound with a torque wrench. Before we can proceed with positioning the back vertical fins, You must first secure the bottom of each front vertical fin with self-tapping Tech 5 screws provided by Wausau Tile. By doing so, you will secure the integrity of each front fin and maintain their alignment. No hardware substitutions are to be made due to the size and strength as part of the design of the system. Accurate measurements are crucial, but once you have determined the necessary measurements, proceed to cut each back vertical fin length if needed. Moving each fin will require at least 2 people. Using a lever to reposition the fin may be required, but once positioned properly, you may clamp the fin into place. Starting at the bottom of the vertical fins, clamp 2 polyurethane strips on the front and back fins to protect them from damage. From there, you may mount the large C-clamp and use an impact driver and hammer to seal the 2 fins together. Moving just a few feet at a time, continue to move the C-clamp up the entire length of the fins while repeating the same pinching process until you reach the top of the posts. Now that you have one back vertical fin installed, proceed to the next one. Repeat the same process of measurements, cutting, and positioning before moving on to the C-clamp, impact driver, and hammering procedure. Use 2 self-tapping Tech 5 screws provided to secure the top of each back vertical fin. Next, you'll want to remove the eye bolts that were used to unload and crane the eyebrow into position. Carefully unscrew each eye bolt, then use the threaded stainless steel plugs provided. Screw them into place, and caulk each screw with the supplied white silicone caulk to prevent any water from leaking into the eyebrow. Time to install the base covers. First, you'll need to drill the appropriate holes into the concrete foundation. Then mount the first half of the base cover by pounding in 2 masonry bolts. Once that is in place, you can slide the second half of the base cover into position. Screw the second half into the first half with 2 flush mount metal screws per side. Be sure to use the provided white silicone caulk on each post where it meets the ceiling. This step may be left for the EIFS installer. Now take the time to clean up each of the vertical fins, horizontal arms, and eyebrows, using a cleaning solution to remove any grease or grime that may have accumulated during the assembly process. After inspecting each unit, touch up and use white paint provided by Wausau Tile to cover all exposed bolt heads. Congratulations! You're done.